Well, hello, friends. Thanks for being here today. So, some of you know that I've been doing my own publicity in preparation for my book launch, tentatively scheduled for mid-August. I've been reaching out to various media outlets to see if I can get on their show to talk about my book. And I was trying to time it for the book release, but some have actually responded sooner than expected. So when a TV show gets back to you, you need to be available as soon as they want you. It's not like, oh, can we schedule for next month? No, it's can you be available next week? So I recently recorded a live TV interview for a CBS station, and I'm going to share the top 10 ways I prepared for this interview. And I think there's some valuable information in what I'm about to share. So get ready. You do not want to miss this episode. Welcome to MOMetize Your Passion, a place for moms with big dreams and an eagerness to turn them into a thriving reality. Whether you're a mother looking to monetize your talents, transition from a stagnant job, or explore a fun side hustle, you're in the right place. I'm Caroline, wife, mother, and the visionary behind Tinseltown Mom, a platform dedicated to helping moms to embrace and pursue their God-given dreams. After interviewing nearly 100 celebrities for my platform, one common theme stands out in their success stories: passion. As a former actress, current writer, celebrity blogger, and certified life coach, passion has always been at the core of my journey. And through it all, I've discovered the power of honing our gifts, learning from our past, and using our experiences to uplift others. Join me on the show as I explore stories of celebrity moms and successful mompreneurs, uncovering the roadmap to their accomplishments. I'll also be sharing business and marketing tips to guide you towards tangible ideas for making money. Here, my hope is that you'll find inspiration from God, encouragement, and practical insights to mometize your passion. All right, so I do want to mention that when I reached out to the host/producer to be on this CBS show, I had no idea it was going to be live. However, I was pleasantly surprised because that meant I would actually be on the show and not risk being cut out if it were pre-recorded. So it was actually a good thing. So when I found out it was going to be live, I prepared for my appearance in several ways. And these are my top 10 ways that I prepared to be on a live show. So the first thing I did to prepare was to decide if I was going to be in the studio rather than over Zoom. And I actually was given the option, which I totally could have been on Zoom. It would have been easier not having to actually go out of town to be on the show. However, the show was filmed in Northern California, where I'm from. So I decided to take the hour flight from Southern California, which is where I live now, to visit my family. And it was my birthday weekend. So I just made it a whole thing. So it just actually worked out that it would be a fun weekend. And I did vacillate for a minute on whether to do it in person or via Zoom. But ultimately, I decided that being in the studio will provide a better sample to use for other potential shows. And it also would offer a better experience overall. And I feel like if you can do it, if you have the option to be live in the studio, take that opportunity. So the second way I prepared for my live interview is that I prepared the host. I sent the host everything I thought she needed in preparation for our interview. I sent her my media kit, which included my brand credentials, my social media handles, my bio, my contact information. I sent her a link to previous TV interviews that I had done. Plus, I sent her talking points. So by the time I got to her show, she had everything she needed for the airing and even used all the information that I gave her. They even used my intro segment. They used my bullet points, like everything that I sent her, they actually used. She didn't even ask me, can you clarify this? Can you send me this? I literally sent her everything that I thought she needed. So the third way that I prepared for my live interview is I found the right outfit to wear. Solid colors are best for TV. So what I did was I studied previous segments and looked at what other hosts were wearing, the type of colors that they wore on a regular basis. And it seemed like the resonating color theme were reds, blues, greens, pinks, purples. Like there was a lot of that happening. But I also noticed that my host wore a lot of red. So I decided not to wear red and choose a lavender color because I didn't see a lot of that color being worn, and I didn't want to risk wearing the same color as the host. And as far as the color lavender, that's actually one of my brand colors, so that worked out beautifully. So the fourth way to prepare for your live interview is to research your host. So as I mentioned earlier, my host wore a lot of red, so I avoided that color. I also found out some of her hobbies, and from my research, I learned that she had a great sense of humor, that she was fun. It really kind of put me at ease because not only was she fun, but she seemed genuine and nice and likable, and I was really looking forward to the interview. So if you have the name of the person who's interviewing you, I would recommend that you do your due diligence, like look at their social media, look at the type of posts that they do. Are they engaged with their audience? Are they funny? Are they silly? Are they serious? Just get to know them via their social media, and you can get an idea of how the interview might go. My host was very engaged with her audience, very funny, very personable. So it really made me look forward to coming on and really put me at ease. So the fifth thing that you want to do in preparation for your interview is to practice your talking points. So I had talking points that I sent over to the host, as I mentioned earlier, and I made sure that I practiced those talking points because I was told that I would have a 3-minute segment. And I've never had a 3-minute segment before. So I wanted to make sure within those 3 minutes, I was going to get out the heart of my message. I wanted to make sure I mentioned my book somewhere in there. I wanted to make sure I had a call of action. And I wanted to make sure I had some tips to provide for those who were listening. So 3 minutes is not a lot of time. So you have to be very strategic in how you prepare for those 3 minutes. You want to make sure when a question is given to you that you answer it succinctly and you are clear in what you're trying to say. So I had my younger son practice with me. I had him pretend to be the host and ask me the questions, and I just practiced with him just to make sure I wasn't going too long and just to kind of get a sense of how the interview might go. So the sixth way that I prepared for this live interview was that I decided on how I was going to do my hair and makeup. So I got my hair done by my professional hairdresser, but what I didn't have prepared was my makeup because I don't wear a lot of makeup. I'm not good with makeup. I don't know the best colors. So I was like, Lord, please give me wisdom on how to get my makeup done, where to go, et cetera, et cetera. Because my segment was going to be on a Sunday. I had to arrive at 7:30 in the morning. So my makeup needed to be done like at 5, 6 in the morning. So thankfully, because I was in Northern California, my family's all there. My sister came with me to the show and she's great at makeup. She did my makeup. It worked out beautifully. I would have never known how to apply everything that she applied, and it just worked out so well. So the seventh way to prepare for this live interview is to wear the right undergarments. Now, I know this may sound strange, but you want to make sure you present yourself professionally, and that's even with what's underneath your clothing. So you want to make sure you have the right padding in your bra. Let's say it's a cold studio. You want to make sure that's taken care of. You want to make sure your straps don't easily fall down, so that's showing while you're speaking. And you want to make sure there's nothing see-through happening while you're in the interview. So that's something to think about, and it's something that's important. I will add that if you need help getting your brand or business in front of the right media, then I can assist with that. I can help you find the right podcast to be on, TV shows that resonate best with your audience. If that is you, then click the application in my show notes and let's see if we're a good fit for working together. So the eighth way that I prepared for this live interview was I made sure I had a call to action at the end of my segment, because I knew at the end of the segment, I would be asked, well, where can people find you, or how can people get in touch with you? So I made sure I had a freebie to offer the audience, and I had a call to action when they went to my website, which is what I plugged at the end. I make sure they had a freebie, plus they would also get on my mailing list. So make sure you are prepared for that. The ninth way that I prepared for this live interview was that I asked questions. Now, there is no shame in asking questions. You want to make sure you are as prepared as possible. Do not assume that the host thinks you know everything, because you don't. So before I went on the show, I emailed her and I asked her, would I be walking out for my segment? Would I be sitting in a chair? Would I be sitting on a couch? Like, I wanted to know this beforehand, because you have to know, okay, do I need to wear certain shoes? Are they going to be looking at me walk? Am I just going to be sitting there? Like, you need to know these things. Also, when I was at the interview, before we actually aired, when I was sitting with her on the chairs, I asked her, is there anything else I need to know before we go live? And she told me, make sure you look at me and not the camera when we're speaking. I did not know that. And she may have assumed that I was a professional, which I am, but she may have assumed that I've done this multiple times before and I knew to do that. And I did not know that. So I was so glad that I asked that question, because maybe my eyes would have been looking in different directions and it would have looked unprofessional on camera. So again, it's better to ask the questions before you go live. You will not look foolish. It's better to be prepared before you go on air. So the 10th way to be prepared for this live interview is to be ready to say thank you. Now, I know that's a no-brainer. Of course, you're going to say thank you, but you might be nervous and you might forget at the end to say thank you. Make sure you say thank you after the interview is all complete. And I also sent a follow-up email to thank my host as well. That just opens up the door to a relationship, maybe them bringing you back on the show, as she mentioned to me on the show and also via the email. So I just want to keep that door open. Of course, you're going to always be polite, but that just gives it a little extra, knowing that you're saying thank you and you're gracious and you are thankful for them allowing you on the show and allowing you the opportunity to share what you are passionate about. All right, so I'm going to let you listen to the actual live interview. And again, in this segment, I wanted to make sure I got out several points. One is I wanted to make sure I mentioned about my upcoming book. I wanted to make sure I had a call of action. I wanted to make sure I got some points out to give to the audience. And I wanted to make sure I talked about myself and what I did. So I did get out all those points, thankfully. And the interview actually was about 4 minutes and something. So I got more airtime, which was great. So here goes.
All right, so it's called Tinseltown Mom.
Yes.
It's a platform. Tell us a little bit more. It's on the website.
Yes, so it's a brand, and it helps moms to tap into their passions. Mm-hmm. And I do that through coaching, through my website, through my podcast, where I interview celebrity moms and mompreneurs about their success stories. And the prayer is that it'll spark an interest in people who are listening and encourage them to also pursue their passions.
What celebrities are we talking about that you've that really moved you?
Oh, that really moved me. Sherry Shepherd.
Okay.
I interviewed her maybe 3 times. Recently, Leanne Morgan. Do you know her?
Of course, I saw her. She was here in Sacramento.
That's right. Yes. So she has a great story.
Oh, yes.
She was pursuing her passions as a mom of 3 little kids. Mm-hmm. She loved comedy.
Yep.
And she started selling jewelry and doing stand-up at the jewelry parties.
She is amazing.
Yeah.
And her career is taking off right now.
I know. In her 50s is when it really took off.
Yes.
Where she really pursued her passions.
So you help moms take the time to follow their passions.
Yes.
And how does one balance that with a full-time job and taking care of the kids?
Well, I did it before my kids were born. I've always been pursuing passions. Working full-time corporate jobs, I was pursuing passions.
Okay.
And every time at every opportunity, I was pursuing a passion. So I was working a full-time job. I would spend time in the evenings when I picked the kids up from school. Mm-hmm. I would include them in my passions. So I always made time for it. And I feel like if you're making time for your passions, you actually have more time because you're setting a goal for yourself on how you want to pursue these passions. Mm-hmm. And then you begin to recognize what things are not important that you have to eliminate in your life. Mm-hmm. So you're really making more balance in your life by pursuing your passions.
I see. Some people say that I don't have time for that.
Mm-hmm. They do.
Why don't you, I say?
Yeah, because sometimes they don't have goals set in place. Like if people actually set out their yearly goals, their quarterly goals, their monthly goals, and they looked at it and actually followed it, they put it on their calendar, they put it in their planner, and they followed those goals, then they would have more time.
Do you think that writing it down cements it in their mind?
Writing it down cements it and having a specific goal in mind.
Yes.
Because if they're looking at their goals and actually following those goals, then they'll realize, oh, maybe I don't need to be on Netflix for 2 hours a night. Or maybe I don't need to volunteer at my kid's school for 3 hours a week.
Right. Like, give us an example of some goals that typical moms that have talked to you.
Yes.
What have they wanted to pursue?
So, for example, let's say a mom wanted to pursue a passion of writing a book.
Okay.
So the yearly goal may be self-publish a book within the year. Okay. That's actually my goal for this year, to publish a book that's coming out. So in the year, you're going to publish a book. Mm-hmm. That's the yearly goal. For the quarterly goals, you might have goals that say, okay, I'm going to find an editor. I'm going to find this. I'm going to find that. So you're going to be very specific on the things that are going to help lead you to that yearly goal.
I love that. Mm-hmm.
And then for the month, you're going to have your top 4 goals that you need to accomplish. That's going to move you toward that quarterly goal.
Uh-huh.
And then every day on your calendar, you actually have goals set for yourself every day.
Yes.
So you're always moving. So even those moms who say they feel stuck,
no,
it's hard to feel stuck if you're actually moving somewhere and you're planning something and you actually are moving forward.
And I think we also don't give ourselves credit that we are moving.
Exactly.
Okay, so here, do we show the graphic already here? MOMetize Your Passion. I like that you wrote that. Importance of moms pursuing their passion, like you said. Impact has on your kids. Very important, right? Because they see you
exactly
in a light of being positive and moving towards something that influences them, right?
Yeah, it encourages them.
Passion into purpose and turning passion into profit. There we go. So more information. How can they find you?
Well, if they go to tinseltownmom.com/sign up, then I have a freebie for them.
Oh.
I'll give you a free planner, plus you can be abreast on when my book is coming out, and I have tips on how to make money online.
Hey, we like that. You come back and visit us again?
I would love to. Thank you so much, Tina.
Tarlan, thank you so much. There we go.
So just to recap, these are the 10 ways that I prepared for my live interview. First, I decided to be in the studio rather than on Zoom. Second, I prepared the host. Third, I found the right outfit. Fourth, I researched the host. Fifth, I practiced my talking points. Sixth, I decided on the right makeup and hair. Seventh, I wore the right undergarments. Eighth, I prepared a call to action. Ninth, I asked questions. And 10th, I was ready to say thank you. All right, so we've come to the end of another segment. I hope and pray that this episode blessed you. If it did, I would love to hear from you by way of an encouraging review. As you know, this podcast is meant to be a blessing to the listeners, so any support that you can give would be so appreciated. Until next time.